was me, actually. More supple. I want to hit a couple crosswords. You might hit a few of these, I figure. Through the door. Mush? Oh, been in my car all day.
Uh-oh.
Oh, so soft. Hit that thing as hard as you want. It'll go like 2 miles an hour. Here you go, Kyle. Here you go, Curtis. Oh, good ball. We're helping you out every time. Bonnie, you have your edge shot ready?
My edge?
Your edge guard?
Yeah, I think I'm...
Your tap? Or your Tony?
Yeah, if you... Oh, my Tony?
There it is.
My flight is like an hour after looking at it. I had a smash up behind the and it goes off an edge guard for like almost a clean winner over there. I probably got
No, he hits it. He hits it on the paddle, but he goes here.
Well, I think what people haven't seen is the whole everyone is got one up. I mean, not a winner, but he's got a ball back. The whole crowd. Whoa!
You're gonna switch while you win. Just switch here. Maybe he's like, if he needs that little handle. It's the same length. It's the same length.
So precise.
Well, he is Tony. Really? Get in there.
Test. There we go. Okay, test. Okay, welcome everybody. This is going to be a fun exhibition tonight. We have 4 fantastic players. This is put on by the Lake Oswego Pickleball Club. We've had this club for 2 years now, and we're approaching 200 members. So, wow, we've seen a lot of growth in the area with pickleball. I'm going to introduce. Yep, good job, Carl, and our district ambassador is Tom Wyden. So, thanks to you, Tom. Thanks to Bill Spiller will be refereeing this match. I'm Steve Peranto. I used to get to play in these exhibitions, and then I got old. So I'm going to first introduce all these players. I know them all pretty well. First off, let's introduce the beauty on the court. You guys ready for that? Okay, so Kyle, you wrecked my punchline. So I've known Bonnie for about 4 years. Actually, the very first time I met Bonnie, my mixed partner and I were playing you and that young gentleman, Curtis, over there, and it was, I believe that was your first tournament of your life, wasn't it? And right away we recognized that she had this wonderful talent for, we knew she was obviously a talented tennis player. That was easy to figure out. And then we knew she'd have a lot of talent for pickleball. We just didn't know that she was going to like go in full bore and make it her life, which she really has. She actually now works for she's PPF, Professional Pickleball Federation Commissioner. She's been involved in just so many things with pickleball. She's only played that's about 4 years ago, wasn't it? 3-4 years ago? I know you say, everybody always so here's the thing about pickleball players, they all do this. They played for 5 years, they'll say they played for 2. It seems like that was at least 3 years ago that I played you in that, because we played them in the final of that. She actually started pickleball because of rehabbing her knee, tennis injury, correct, Bonnie? And have you played tennis since? One time, so pickleball has taken over. She's a national and world singles champion. In my book, she's the best senior singles player in the world. Not even, to me, Bonnie is the best. So I know that because she creams me, and she's wrecked my shoulder. I tell everybody this, my shoulder's sore because I've hit the ball so hard against her in singles. She just won the PPF mixed women's event in Bend, Oregon, just coming off a nice victory there. You might have watched her. You might have watched the live streaming that was going on this weekend. One interesting thing about Bonnie, if you ever train or do drills with Bonnie, you can't just come up to her, and you might have drilled for 3 hours, but you just can't then tell her, okay, Bonnie, I'm done. It's like a little child. You have to warn them before they get to stop playing a game or something. So you have to give her a warning. I've learned that. So I always say, okay, now Bonnie, we're only playing one more game. So I always thought that was very true, huh, Bonnie? Yep. Okay, over here, Curtis Campbell, raise your paddle. There's Curtis Campbell. I've known Curtis since he was a young teenager. He lives in my town. He graduated from Glencoe High School along with, if you guys know, Enrique also went to Glencoe High School. We have 2 greats in the sport that came from, oddly enough, one high school in the town of Hillsborough. That's probably, I'm sure there's no other top 2 players in the world that came from the same high school. He starred in basketball and tennis at Glencoe High School. I knew some of the coaches at Glencoe, and they would tell me that Curtis was the entire basketball team. So, he's a hard player to play against. I've played against Kyle a lot. He's one of those ambidextrous players. And he also, not only does he switch, we have 2 ambidextrous players, I'll get to that in a second over on this side. Not only does he switch hands, but he switches grips a lot too. So normally what happens is you scout somebody out by how they hold their paddle and their ready position. You just throw that out the window when you're playing Curtis, because there is no one spot that you can figure out to hit to him. So he's a very hard player to play against. He and Kyle won a PPF not very long ago. I believe that was the Rocky Mountain Championship. And that was kind of a big breakthrough for Curtis. Curtis has won lots of our local things, beating a lot of the top players that are winning national championships. But he got a lot of recognition there. Both talented in singles and doubles. And over here we have Wes Gabrielsen, one of my good pickleball friends. And Wes, let's tell the truth. How many years have you played pickleball? The truth this time. We're going to get the truth out of it.
Tournaments or just in general?
Okay, first off, in general.
15 years?
Okay.
Something like that?
Yeah. And then tournaments going on about 5 years. Yeah. Yeah. Wes is a school teacher. He's also a tennis coach. He's a very successful tennis coach. His kids love him. I've been to his high school visiting him, and you just get that feeling that you wish the whole school had a whole bunch of Mr. Gabrielsens as teachers there. He's won mixed national championships, men's doubles championships national, and in fact, he and Kyle are the reigning U.S. National champions. And he also won the national championship with our good friend Enrique from our area also. When Wes first made his big splash in pickleball, he got a lot of notice for singles play because he used both hands. He's also ambidextrous. We have 2 people over here, when they play singles, they hit a lot of shots with their offhand. You can cover a lot of court that way. But now Wes is kind of considered, and Wes even predicted this a few years ago, hey, these young kids are coming up like Kyle. And Kyle was 20, now you're 22, isn't that correct? Yeah. And Wes was thinking, man, I feel kind of like the old man, and now Wes is 31, and I think pretty much Wes now is just playing all the doubles events, correct?
I'm
Yep.
retired from singles.
Retired from singles. Wes is really the first person that made a scene at the big national level that really incorporated a backhand return to serve, heavy driving slice. Now it's copied by lots of players are hitting those slices, forehand and backhand. And now we're up to Kyle Yates. Kyle, raise your paddle. So, you know, I first heard of Kyle from Chris Miller when he stayed over to my house and you were about 19. And he was telling me about Kyle. I think, at the time you were about 19. I forget which tournament you made an impression on Chris, but I started hearing his name a lot. And then he made a big splash at Nationals and U.S. Open. If you guys have watched the CBS Sports Network coverage the last 2 years of pickleball, Kyle has won that the last 2 years, well, both years that it's existed with Dave Weinbach. So not only is he a great singles player and doubles player, but he's the reigning U.S. Open and National Men's Champion. And actually, Kyle has made pickleball pretty much his life. He's traveling, seeing the world. I know you've been to Spain playing tournaments, correct? And he's going in Europe in 2 weeks. Pickleball's his life, you guys. So he's an IPTPA certified instructor. Between giving lessons, doing clinics, playing tournaments, promoting the sport, it's a full-time job, isn't it, Kyle? And he's going back home, I think, in about 4 or 5 days. How long has it been since you've been back home to Florida?
I haven't seen my mom in about 6 months.
All because of pickleball.
She's not happy.
So the format, you guys, this is an exhibition. And exhibitions are really fun. They're a little different. Sometimes, you guys go ahead and hit balls while I'm talking, that's fine. Sometimes you'll see them go for maybe shots that aren't the highest percentage shots, but they're really entertaining. So you're going to see some, you'll probably see some crazy shots. We're going to play 3 games, everyone, and we're going to switch partners each game. And I'll do a little bit of play-by-play, talk about their shot selection, and it should be a good time. So you guys go ahead and warm up, hit, and then when we're ready, we'll go ahead and start this match.
We're ready.
Oh, they're ready. Okay.
Are you serving first?
And Bill is our referee, so I'll let Bill take over and ref, and I'll do play-by-play.
Timeout. That's a good ball. Just in case.
We call it medical. The sun might go down.
No, they don't carry over.
Tony Tolinar was going to be. Bonnie is right, just jumped at the chance to be in this. The only thing is that it took away about 4 of my jokes without Tony out there. So I know, but I had such good jokes, Tony, with you on the court.
All right, Bonnie. Kyle's team gets to serve first. I know. Y'all ready? Oh yeah. 0-0-2. Ready, Curtis? They're picking on me, Bonnie. I got it. Oh, I got it.
Wow, we started off with a dink point right away. And that's what the pros do. They dink. They hit third shot dinks. That's how they get to the net.
Did you hit that ball? No. Well, there you go. 0-0-2, 1. That's me. Server. No, you're good. 0-0-1. Yep. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's good. Nice shot. Good spot for you up there. 1-0-1. it comes. Here it comes.
Oh, great point.
I think that's it, right? 1-0-2. Nice shot, Bonnie.
So if you watch Weston's returning serve, if you notice he prefers the backhand, and that's so he can get a lot of backspin on that return.
0-1-1.
Oh, great. Now, if you haven't played tons of pickleball, one thing you're going to watch is they always come in after they return serve. Now, Kyle will probably do something opposite since I said that, but... So the reason you see them not attack is because the other team is not giving them anything to attack. That's the whole strategy, is keep everything low and short.
1-1-1.
So did you guys notice Curtis switching to his left hand on those dinks? So he's one of the rare people that do that a lot. Wes and he both.
3-1-1.
This way.
3-1-2. Nope. 2-3-1. Server. 2-3-2. Nice shot.
Okay, so Kyle saw just a little bit of an opening and went for it.
Yeah, 3-2-1. That's you. You. Heads up. You. Four, 2-2. Am I the right server? Yes, you are. Kyle's right. 4-2-2. Yep. Uh-oh.
see how Wes reset the point? He's in the middle of the court, which some people call the no man's land, but actually in pickleball you have to be able to learn how to dink from there. And he had a volley dink and it got them back in the point.
2-4-1.
Again, notice all the volley dinks they're hitting, rather than smashing it hard, because they kind of reset and get to the net.
Yep.
Nice drop.
Nice drop.
So Bonnie and Wes are stacking right now to keep Wes's forehand in the middle. That's why Bonnie's serving on that side, with Wes over there.
Yep. 4-3-1.
Very tough to lob the 5-0 professional pickleball players, really hard.
5-3-1.
Inside out flicker.
You.
Sorry.
Curtis is calling the timeout. 5-3-2.
You.
Oh, my God.
Notice how small of a swing Bonnie took to block that. Very short backswing, short follow through too, but still accelerated.
Thanks, Jim.
3-5-2.
I got it. Nope. Oh, good try.
I think we've done that before.
There, Bonnie. 5-3-1. So hard to say that. 6-3-1.
Bonnie using her long reach to turn that into an aggressive shot.
I was over here. 6-3-2. It landed in. 3-6-1. Yeah.
5-3. By the way, Wes used to coach against Curtis in high school, and Curtis used to do that shot in high school, didn't you, Curtis?
A few times.
Yeah.
4-6-1.
Bonnie's got very nice topspin on that two-hander, and that made the court a little longer for her.
6-6-1. Oh. Good idea, Wes.
Yeah, you might be tapping that around. 6-6-2.
You.
Oh, God. Oh.
Yeah, I can get there.
Okay.
Nice shot.
All right, Tom. 6-6-1.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Sorry, I lost.
Thank you. No, it's good.
7-6-1.
Oh.
Yeah. 7-6-2.
No rotation on that, Kyle.
So Kyle looked like he was going to drive it hard and then did a nice little soft inside out.
8-6-2.
Oh, yeah.
6-8-1.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Thanks, Steve. That's you. 6-8-2.
Nope.
Eight, 6-1.
You.
You.
Oh. Yeah, that was good.
One reason these guys have such great control at the net is everything is short, compact.
8-6-2.
That's you. Oh, yeah. I didn't see you moving.
I didn't see you hit the heart. 9-6-2.
Wow.
So again, a lot of deception on that shot. Kyle wound up, he actually opened his shoulders like he's going to hit this way and then hits the other way. Like he was going to hit down the line. So it's called an inside out. The trick is to make all your shots look the same, but then do not do the same thing on every shot, but make them look the same.
10-6-2.
Oh, watch out.
Right out.
All right, Bonnie.
Okay, come back.
Our time, partner. Come back time. Time out.
6-10-1.
You. Oh, boy.
You.
Sneaky.
Sneaky.
7-10-1.
You. 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 Oh, yeah.
Second server. 7-10-2. Flying around.
Yep. Yep.
10-7-1.
You.
Oh.
Now you see where Wes went for that ball? When you have the ball up in the air, go to the person that's closest to you because they have less reaction time, and at the feet is where they hit most of their winners.
10-7-2.
You.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first game, everybody. How about that? Saw quite a bit of, a little bit of everything in that game, really. Now, when you see these players hit their slice, return to serve, they're trying to make it more difficult for the other team to hit a third shot dink. Now, they can do it, so they're so good, they know. Test it. Oh, they know that when they know their opponent is slicing, so when they do that, they counteract by letting it fall a little bit to get rid of some of that backspin, and then also they have to open their paddle up instead of being this angle to hit that third shot dink because of the backspin. They're just a little bit more open, and if you notice, they can adjust. They're looking at the spin that their opponents are hitting. What do you have to say, Wes? Was that fun? Pretty fun game? Yeah. And we're going to change it up. Oh, you guys are going to get to see the current reigning national champions team up, Kyle and Wes. We'll be playing Bonnie and Curtis.
Okay, server side. Oh, we'll serve. All right.
Smart.
Ready? 0-0-2.
Easy, Bonnie.
They had two. You.
Wes, when you've been to my house, I've seen double before when we played pickleball.
Let's start over. Okay. I can only use one ball. One ball. 0-0-2.
By the way, about 5 years ago, you could actually play a match with two paddles. That rule was changed because of Enrique. And I played in my backyard with these guys with two paddles. You don't want to see somebody doing this.
Who's your server? And you're the server. 0-0-1.
There you go. He's the server. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. Oh.
Very nice, Bonnie. 0-0-1. Two.
It's the left hand by Curtis.
So, Bonnie, how's your day going?
Yeah. 0-0-1.
Yep.
Server. 0-0-2.
Yep.
Now that's a shot I've been seeing Kyle hit lately. That's a forehand. Usually people have to hit that with a backhand, and he actually does it this way and curves it with his forehand around the net post.
1-0-2.
Oh.
You. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
2-0-2.
You go, 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 go.
You. You.
Get over.
No!
You notice when these top players get lobbed, when they run back, they hit a dink from the baseline. They don't just throw up lobs. 9 out of 10 players just throw up lobs, but the top players dink and then come in again.
302.
That's you.
You.
You. Nice, Sonny. Nope.
Ooh, what was that?
Out.
And out. 031.
Not bad, Ronnie.
032.
You.
Yep.
Ooh. Great hands, great hands.
Cheers, Tom.
301.
No! Sorry.
You're good.
Can't do that.
Time out.
401.
You. You.
Fine. That's me again. That's me. That's loud. Oh boy. Yeah.
All right, Kurt. What are you gonna do?
501.
Good.
601.
You. You.
Now, notice that Wes does, well, no, I'm sorry, I thought it was Wes serve, never mind.
701.
I want them to see how, when Wes serves next time, notice that he serves with his right hand and then he puts the paddle in his left hand. He does the same in tennis, which is really unusual.
Uh-oh, going up. Yep, he's going up. I got it. Oh.
We know this shot.
801.
You. You.
Okay, now you can notice. So, do what you usually do.
802.
Serves to the right, puts it in his left. That's what he does all the time.
Yep. 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 Yep.
You. You. You.
I got it.
Well, they are the current national champions, you guys.
90.
Do it, Kyle. Come on. You can do it. Come on.
Thanks, Wesley.
091.
You. You.
Up. Heads up. Medical timeout.
9-0-1.
You.
Yo. Yo.
No.
9-0-2.
That's you on.
You.
Come on.
Sorry, guys.
10-0-2.
My serve. 9-0.
West is through. 10.
You.
Okay, Bonnie, let's get on the board here. Come on, here we go.
0-10-1.
There you go, Bonnie.
1-10-1.
You.
Oh, the other way.
What?
1-10-2.
Ooh.
10-1-1.
You. You.
One, 10-1.
Come on.
A little farther, please.
You don't want to hit lots of angle with these young kids because they just go around the net post.
1-10-2.
You get punished.
You. Great job, Bonnie.
Over, Bonnie. Coming to me, Bonnie. 2-10-2.
Nope.
Three, 10-2.
You.
Right out. 10-3-1.
You.
You.
Yeah, that's good. And 3-2.
And that's the second game, everybody. We just got to watch the national champions play together. The National Men's Open champions. If you notice when they do the Ernie shots, that, by the way, the Ernie shot is when they come to the side and hit the ball. That's relatively new to the sport of pickleball. Pickleball's been around over 50 years. That shot's only been around about 10. we always thought that the no volley zone was an imaginary line that just continued and continued and continued, but it wasn't ever written in the book. We just all assumed that it was. And then some of the Seattle guys, one of them being Ernie Perry, that's why that's called the Ernie shot, started doing that. And you go, you can't do that. Where does it say that in the rules? And then they just stuck, and now it's actually a big part of the game. In a top tournament, they have to be really careful not to give their opponents that shot. Also, around the net post is relatively new, because in the old days of pickleball, the nets were usually just strung up from one end to the other of the gym, and there was no place to hit around the net post. Okay. All right, we have Curtis and West together, and these guys have won some tournaments together too, not too long ago.
Played one.
You guys have how many of you played together? They played one and they've won it, so they've won 100% of their tournaments together. Kyle and Bonnie, have you guys ever been on the same side of the court before?
Never lost.
Never lost either. Okay, perfect. Here we go. Game 3.
0-0-2.
The other thing that these top players do is they don't give up the line. They hang right in there. They may shuffle and reach, but they don't back away.
1-0-2. Oh, Bonnie. Oh,
Yeah.
Where was that?
Who hit the shot to her before that?
0-1-1. Where are you going? 1-1-1. Yep.
Ball skidded on the fake line, huh?
1-1-2. Ooh, good rip. Two, 1-2.
Maybe later you can have them sign it for you.
1-2-1. Oh, yeah. 1-2-2. Oh, that's you. Oh! No, it's not. Not with that
A
bounce.
little bit of a skid there.
2-1-1.
Oh, amazing get.
Two, 1-2. Nice switch.
Not only do they keep their volleys short, but when they follow through, it's right back to a ready position. If they go like this, they're not going to get the next ball back. So it's right here.
1-2-1. Atta girl.
Sorry.
Are you good?
I'm now afraid.
1-2-2.
You. You.
I think I started, didn't I?
1.
Bonnie does have a very nice aggressive topspin serve, and it really helps her in singles.
3, 2, 1. Point. Steve, what's your response to that?
I wish he could have hit the ball, because then it would have been interesting. But illegal, but interesting.
4, 2, 1. You! Heads up. Four, 2, 2.
Oh, here he goes. Nice shot.
So you actually can't do that, but it looked good. Yeah.
The rule is you're on their court.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They're giving us one.
He didn't distract me.
I'm going ahead side out. Oh, okay. Isn't it?
Yeah?
4-ish?
By my calculations, it's inside out.
Game continues. 2, 4, 1. We're good.
Oh! Sorry to let that go. Why did you hit that?
3, 4, 1.
No. Gonna
Point.
Not a bad idea.
But I gotta make it.
4, 4, 1.
You.
Put it away.
4, 4, 2.
Papa.
4, 4, 1.
Oh, Bonnie was ready though, looking for it. That was a good cross-court dink rally. That's the safest spot to hit, by the way, when you're dinking, is cross-court. You have more length to work with.
4, 2. Good work, Curtis. 5, 4, 2. 5, 4, 2. Bonnie, want to play keep away now?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that skidded.
Stay down. Four, 5, 1. Like that. Four, 5, 2.
Go, go, go.
5-5-2.
You. You.
Careful.
Right out.
That's a tough one.
5-5-1.
Where we're different.
Better.
5-5-2.
Go, 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 go!
Right out.
Now that's a real dangerous shot that Wes just hit, a return to serve short. Usually just hit deep, 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 deep. But these guys are so good they can do that occasionally. But usually, I wouldn't recommend the average player to hit return to serve short on purpose.
You. You.
Oh, Wes. I knew he'd miss it, that's why I hit it up.
6-5-1.
That's you.
You. You.
That's a shot you think you're going to jam, Curtis. And he's that switch grip that he makes. He's all over that one.
7-5-1.
You. Go ahead, Doc.
Top body. 7-5-2.
That's you. Oh. Trying to hit it.
5-7-1.
Shot, Kyle. There we go.
6-7-1. Point.
Time out.
7-7-1.
Woo! Yeah.
8-7-1.
Just didn't think that side.
Point.
Yeah.
9-7-1.
Wow. And that's what Kyle's known for. Is he's just so fast that he can get into position to hit that shot.
10-7-1. Go, Bonnie.
Nice plan.
Nice lob from Bonnie. Good playing. Let's hear it for the pros, you guys.